What up, Robstar gang? Welcome to yet another edition of the Robstar Report. Of course, as always, it's your host, Clay Rob, and I've got the Canes game on. So if I'm looking off to the side here, I'm watching the Hurricanes, first game of the season versus the Devils. So I'm watching that right now, and they're up 1-0. So watching the Canes right now, ladies and gentlemen, watching the Canes. I've been a hockey fan for the past. I really got into hockey about 5 years ago. And ever since then, I haven't really looked back. It's a fun sport, man. It's a fun sport to watch, that's for sure. But we're going to dive into a couple things. How the Panthers may have finally found their identity, possibly. We'll see. We're also going to dive into the running back room, how it should shuffle out. Is Chuba Hubbard going to be playing? We're going to dive into that injury report this week. And I want to talk about the pass rush. That's another thing I want to talk about Carolina, like how important that's going to be this week. And then, of course, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST as always. The live might be earlier tomorrow. I might be able to do an earlier live stream tomorrow. Might do an earlier live stream tomorrow. And we'll dive into, of course, the preview and prediction for that Cowboys game. I'll give you my keys to victory and all that good stuff as always. So make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you in on your way out as you come through. Feel free to get in the comments section. Love to hear y'all's guys' thoughts. And every single live, ladies and gentlemen, the more you like, the more the algorithm gets out there, the more this channel gets out to people that may have never been here before. So I would greatly appreciate it if you guys come through, like. The live goal here is to get 100 likes. Okay? That's what we tried to do. So if there's 15 people watching right now, there should already be 15 likes. And the more that happens, the more people we get in here. So that's how it works. And it's free. That's all I ask. I don't ask for your money. If you want to give a super chat, that's great. You want to give a super thanks, that's great. If you want to go to do my Cash App or my Venmo, that's also great. Or if you want to become a member, that's great as well. That all of it supports the channel, and all of that goes back towards everything goes towards the channel. So I greatly appreciate you guys. Rory, what up? Jesse, absent, what's up, man? Antonio, what is good, my guy? What is good? All right, I really want to dive into this tonight because after this Dolphins game, did we really find a pulse in this team? Did we finally find something after just 1 week? Did we find something that we can truly lean on going through for this season to really have that progress year? Right? Did this team really reinvent themselves in 1 week? And maybe not reinvented, but they sure as hell remembered who they were supposed to be, right? And, last Monday after that embarrassing loss to New England, right? Dave Canales stepped up to the mic and said all the right things. Stuff about taking a hard look at who we are, evaluating some scheme and personnel, making adjustments. The usual coach speak cocktail you've heard 1,000 times. And honestly, when I listened to it, I almost rolled my eyes so hard they needed to call it an ophthalmologist or whatever they're called. I know I can see the name of the doctor. But anyways, I decided to give him a little bit of grace. It's year 2, man. Growing pains happen. So I figured, fine, let's see if he actually means it. And damn it, he did. Because 1 week later, we walk into that stadium, we punched Miami Dolphins right in the mouth. You come back from a 17-0 deficit, 20 points scored straight. Then you have a game-winning drive in that. And again, it wasn't pretty, but, it wasn't clean either. It wasn't, but it was the kind of gritty, the gut-checking performances this team has been missing for months. All right. So I really want to talk about what I feel like might have changed with this team and why this actually might be the turning point that we've been really looking for. okay? I'll say this. The first thing that I remember from that Miami's game, and y'all guys can sound off and let me know what you think, but I think we finally found that we can run the damn ball. I think we finally remembered that this is a team that had the backbone of running the damn ball. And so we go out there, we run the damn ball, and this we're talking about for a guy who's been preaching, I've been preaching pound the damn rock since minicamp. And Dave Canales also was talking about pounding the rock, but I've been saying it ever since then. I've been saying it since minicamp. And sure, we didn't show it in the first month. His play calling logic has been very, like I said, vanilla, predictable. It wasn't aggressive. He was coaching scared. And then, being down double digits in every game does not exactly help your run-pass balance, ladies and gentlemen. But still, the run game wasn't the problem. It was the commitment to it that was, right? That finally changed against Miami. Why all of a sudden that he decided to change that and was actually more aggressive with the play calling. But I think it's because you know what happens if you're able to run the damn ball. You're able to that opens up the damn pass, which means you can be a little bit more aggressive, and you put and you force that defense to focus on your running backs, and those linebackers have to focus on your running backs, and then you can start putting some play action passes together. And guess who gets to roll out the pocket that thrives in that? Oh, your quarterback and Bryce Young. So there's a lot that goes along with that, right? There's a lot that goes along with that. All right. What's up, Miss Douglas? What's up, good old boy Nate? Band one. What is this? What is about the imposters? Yeah, you're getting out of here. I don't even know why you would even bring that up. We're gonna get that guy up out of here. Smell you later. But anyways, so you can't, and that's the thing. You're down 17-0, and you still stick with the run. Like Dave Canales could have panicked in that last against the Dolphins, and he could have just said, "Screw it, let Bryce throw 45 times." And instead he leaned on Rico Dowdle, and the guy went full prime time, Adrian Peterson. But 5 straight runs, boom, smash mouth football. Suddenly the Dolphins defense looked gassed. The offensive line looked confident. And Dowdle looked like he'd been waiting his whole career for that type of shot, man. And he got it. And he sure as hell got it. And he took full advantage of it. That's for damn sure. And, suddenly that Dolphins defense looked gassed when you started playing that smash mouth football. Our offensive line was looking confident. Dowdle looked like he'd been waiting his whole career for that shot. But at the end of the day, the kid ended up having over 20 plus carries, over 200 yards, and a touchdown. I felt like it wasn't necessarily a breakout game. I felt like it was a major statement by him. Now, here's the kicker. The Panthers didn't just run more. They ran smarter. That was the thing. Like, Canales ditched that predictable wide zone looks. He started mixing in these gap schemes, traps, even a few old school toss plays to get Dowdle downhill. Hell, even Dowdle called his own play, told Brad Ezek, "Hey, I want to run this inside zone play." And basically Dave Canales said, "Okay, screw it. Just don't mess it up. Take full advantage. I'm gonna let you call this play. Let's see what you got." And he ends up running that 53, 57 yards, right? So, again, the thing with Dowdle is he's such a downhill, angry runner. And that 53-yard scamper to open that second half came on a play design we never saw during the first 4 weeks. And he called that play, like I said. So that's the most miraculous thing, because then when you're allowing your players to choose the plays and then you go with it, that proves to me that your coaching staff trusts your players, right? And which means to me they're also adapting, they're evolving, and it's finally something that maybe we can build off of. I'm not saying that we finally found our damn pulse, we finally found our identity, but we certainly are heading in the right direction of that, is what I'm getting at. Okay, that is the biggest thing I've been taking away from that. All right, Miss Douglas comes in and says Bryce forced Canales' hand after those two turnovers. Canales refused to put the ball back in Bryce's hands. Sticking with the run, hopefully so. I'm excited for this weekend, Panthers. Hopefully the Panthers don't self-destruct. If we can play like we are not behind, we can do good. Identity is they have to cover the weak quarterback who's holding the entire team back. Coach killer, and also killing his teammates' careers. Yeah, you all make some good points, man. I'm not going to argue with you guys. Another thing that I really want to harp on too, real quick. I know I'm ranting here a little bit, and we'll get into some more. We'll dive into some news here shortly. But again, this is the reason why I'm saying we might have found our identity too, because I want to say this. I think our defensive front seven grew a backbone. I really do. In this last game, I know we played a bad. I gotta keep myself humble a little bit, chat. Because I think we all need to keep ourselves a little bit humble, because we beat a bad Miami team. Let's be honest. Miami's bad. They are an absolute chaos, a dumpster fire of an organization. They are worse off than we are. You got a quarterback who can't stay healthy, who's had I don't know how many horrific concussions. You got a coach that thinks he's an absolute genius, but then when he steps to the podium, he sounds and looks like he's on drugs, and his favorite word is And then you got Chris Greer, their GM, who I think drafts pretty well, but his contracts and the players he brings in, I just don't think fit what Miami needs. I mean, I that's just being honest. So that's why I want to hold ourselves humble. But at the end of the day, a win's a win, and you have to win football games. I will just say this, we were the better team this past Sunday. And I'll say this, good teams find ways to win, and we found a good way to win, and we got to continue to find ways to win. But let's not also put ourselves in a 17-0 deficit, especially against a team like the Dallas Cowboys, right? When the Panthers cut DJ Johnson, though, earlier in the week, it felt like that housekeeping that needed to be done. It turns out it was the start of a whole defensive overhaul. Why in the first place did we ever start DJ Johnson over any of our rookies? Still today, blows my mind. It's just the same way that this coaching staff, started Brady, what was his name? Dalton Benjamin or whatever it was, the right guard that they ended up like going out and getting from the practice squad and started them over Brady Christensen. Again, some of those things didn't make sense. The DJ Johnson move and then bringing up a practice squad player to replace or to bring in for Chandler Zavala when Chandler Zavala went down instead of putting Brady Christensen there. Not ideal. It's obviously not ideal right now either, with Taylor Moton dealing with an elbow injury, and we might end up having to start Josh Nishman this weekend against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll dive more into that injury report because that's the news I want to go over a little bit. But I want to get to some more of your comments here. Earl, what's up? Earl, what's good? Cannot get outreach Sunday. Jeff R, what's good, man? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. There's over 22 people on YouTube, 7 on X. 22 people on YouTube, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button. I also put out 2 shorts. Actually, I'm about to put up the second short right now as we speak. I'm about to put up my NFL Week 6 picks So if you guys want to tune into that, make sure you like and subscribe. You doing a live reaction this Sunday? Yes, sir, I am. BY9 Clutch. What's up, Commander 336? What's good, my guy? Appreciate you coming through. All right. But again, back to this defensive front, man. It's just like that short I put out about like Nick Squarton. You outsnap DJ Wanham. You're rewarded with the faith with an 89, and then PFF gives you an 89.6 PFF grade, the best on the team. And listen, those grades to me, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, they don't matter. They don't really like tell the whole story. The tape does. And when I went back and watched that, and before I made that short about Nick Squarton, that kid is more disruptive than people really realize. The sacks, he's going to get more sacks. I'm going to tell you that right now. He missed one in that game. He should have had at least one in Miami. But you go watch the tape against Miami. Go watch it. All right? I can't play it. You know what's crazy, guys? I can't do tape reviews on YouTube anymore without getting demonetized for it. So that's the sucky part now. I can't do tape review. So that's why I just go back and watch myself. But this kid is an absolute disruptor. All right. And he's super decisive. He's got great instincts. And you can see it. The pop he has in hitting is all like it is so explosive. He looks like the long-term piece off this edge group. I think he's and I know I'm hyping up Nick Squarton right now, and I know he's a rookie, and I know he's only 21 years old, and everybody keeps saying, well, Derek Brown's the future of our defense. No, Derek Brown is our defense right now. He is the head guy on our defense. The future of our defense is Nick Squarton. It runs through Nick Squarton, and I think it will also run through Princely Mamiel. I really, truly believe that. Now, if we bring in some more guys, that could also say, well, now it's between all these guys. But Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, having them here, I think Tre'von Moehrig is a guy that you can build around as well. But, developing these rookies is key for our future, right? I think it's the same thing for me. You got Trevor Wallace, who now has got the green dot, which I think has definitely benefited this team because he's now calling the plays on defense. And I think it took a lot of pressure off Christian Roseboom, who's I've been telling you guys is a fringe starter at best. And now you changed the roles of the two. Christian Roseboom now slid into more of a 2-down role. And you could tell right away that change alone freed the both of them up. Wallace looked like total control, whereas Roseboom was flying around like a man unchained. And that's what we've been waiting for that linebacker room to look like. Now, coverage, they got to be better. I'll be honest with you there. Our linebackers are still – Trevor Wallace and Roseboom are not the best coverage linebackers. I would just be completely honest. It's and I'm not taking a full shot at him. The tape shows it. I mean, and so does the tape also shows it when Darren Waller is back there eating lunch, and coming off the couch and just cooking us, right? But the results are also there, though, from a run game standpoint. Miami Dolphins, I will say this one thing about their team. Devon Achane is one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. And you're talking about a defense that was dead last in running. Dead last in run defense last year. And they only had 19 yards total. That's the thing I'm getting at. That's the crazy part right there. MLJ, what's up, my guy? Appreciate you coming through. That would be Rock Jones. That would be definitely well worth the memory if I could have both of those happen, for sure. BY9 equals if Crabman may had to make a wish. Jeez, man. D-Mac, just tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. All right? Just tell us how you really feel. That's wild. That is absolutely Wow. Add Corey Thornton. Absolutely. You could add him into that mix too. Our defense can have multiple players that it's built around. Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Exactly. Shout out to Steve-O with that $4.99 donation. I think the offense puts up 35 points this week. Defense gets 5 sacks. I think we put together a better game. Bryce has no turnovers. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Steve-O. You've got a lot of optimism. And honestly, I think that we're going to have to play a perfect game from both sides of the ball to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just being dead honest. I know that their defense is ranking dead last, but their offense is ranking dead first. So it's crazy. We're going up against a team with the best offense with the worst defensive from a ranking and statistical standpoint. But I still think Bryce is going to have to play a perfect game. Can you tell me what player that the Carolina just picked up this week from the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know if we picked up anybody. If we did, that would can you tell me what player that the Carolina just picked up this week from the Dallas Cowboys? I didn't see any reports that we picked up any player from the Dallas Cowboys. We might have released somebody from that would maybe have been there, but was a corner. It was a corner? Did it just happen today? Because I didn't see anything yesterday. Maybe I missed it yesterday. Maybe I missed the report. Anyways, but again, you got also some creative safety usage that I felt like we saw of this last Miami game too, like Tre'von Moehrig, Lathan Ransom creeping into that box as, you know, as a linebacker. And it felt like the Panthers, you know, finally played the kind of speed and swagger they've been missing on that defense. So a lot of good came from that. And I think another thing that this team's got going for them right now, the biggest thing I've seen is that the rookies are growing up fast. They're carrying this team. If you take nothing else from that Miami game, please take this. That rookie class is the heartbeat of that team right now. I'm serious. If you take nothing else from this game, that Miami game, I'm telling you right now, chat, the rookies are the heartbeat of this team right now. The way they are carrying this team, the way that they took over in that Miami game, I'm telling you right now, chat, and I went back to just again, went back and watched the tape. I went back and watched the tape. I mean, you can even go look at these PFF grades here. Steve, if you could find that, article or maybe something on it, that would be great. I would love to see who we picked up, if it's a corner, especially. Even though I don't feel like we need a corner as much as some other needs, but that's just me. But look at this. I mean, look at how many guys from the PFF standpoint. Shout out to Edgar Salmingo Jr., the Panthers analyst on Twitter. If you follow him, shout out to him. His name is Israel Mukamo. Is his jersey's number 27. They just picked him up this week. Let me go look. Israel. I think I know who you're talking about. He actually played at the University of South Carolina. If it's who I'm thinking of, he's not a corner. He's a safety. Yeah, that's a South Carolina. That's a South Carolina boy. Former DB by the Panthers. He was cut. He wasn't. We didn't pick him up. He was cut, ladies and gentlemen. Unless that we picked him back up, because now it's saying that he's on the team. Then it's saying he's off the team. So no, he's a free agent right now. Israel Mukama is not on the Carolina Panthers anymore. That's who you were thinking about. Sup, Shane? Yeah, MLJ, he's no longer with the team. I just looked it up. We picked him up like 2 days ago and then cut him. We picked him up 2 days ago and then just cut him. He's on the practice squad, not anymore. We cut him 2 days ago. He only lasted on this team a week. Yep, no problem. Former University of South Carolina safety, and he's trying to transfer. He's trying to transition as a DB. I don't know why he's trying to transfer as a DB, because I remember him. He's not a very good coverage safety. He's a great run defender. He's a good hybrid role guy, but he wasn't that talented as a safety either at South Carolina. So we'll see what happens. I just heard different. Thank you. Appreciate that. Absolutely. No problem. Yeah, other than that, I don't see any other reports out there. But yeah, all right. So back to the rookies that contributed in that Miami game here. If you go look at this, start with the obvious guy. Of course, everybody's going to be, wants to talk about, loves. Is Te'Ron McMillan is that dude. He's not just your wide receiver one. He's a defensive backs nightmare. For the fifth straight game, an opposing corner got flagged trying to cover him. I mean, the kid's turning DBs into 2023 CJ Henderson, pancake, grabby, praying for mercy. It ends up just being barbecue chicken at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. And then there's the rookie rescue mission on that final drive. Jimmy Horn Jr., for the first NFL game, I think he had more of an impact than anybody realized. 4th and 5, makes a clutch, 17-yard grab to keep the season alive. But I know he only had like 2 catches for 21 yards, but just the way they were able to scheme plays and having him on the field, I think took a lot of pressure off not only T-Mac, but also took some pressure off of Xavier Legette. And that's why we saw some plays from both the gentlemen, right? Then the next play in that final drive, you have Trevor Etienne breaks off a 12-yard run to the 4-yard line. I will talk more about that running back room because I really want to talk about how I feel like this running back room is going to shuffle. And of course, we're still waiting to hear on if Chuba Hubbard's going to play or not due to that quad injury that he's been dealing with. Then you got Mitchell Evans up there. The rookie tight end, man. Capson with a 4-yard touchdown still to come back. I think he's a big red zone threat. I think that I guarantee you'll start seeing 2 tight end sets in the red zone more often. So whether it's Jadavion Sanders, Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans, Jadavion Sanders, Mitchell Evans, whatever, you're going to see some more 2 tight end sets, I think, going forward in the red zone area. I really do. Let's see here. Hold on, let me get to this guy. Bryce better lock in. It can't make mistakes against the Cowboys to start clean. He has talent, but some good with some bad ain't going to cut it if he wants to make it. Absolutely. Corner, Keon Crossan. I saw that. And offensive line, Darian Delcourt. Yep, I saw him. Were signed this week. Yeah, I saw that report. Yep. Okay. Yep. And I saw that report too, Miss Douglas. Thank you. Is Jalen Coker back this week? We're going to dive into Jalen Coker. We're going to talk more about him in a second. Dowdle takes Chuba's spot if he runs 150 plus again. I'm going to dive more into that running back room here shortly. Jimmy Horn Jr. going in motion made the linebacker shift, making Dowdle have less people in his way also. Jimmy Coker Legette should open the field more for T-Mac. Yeah, definitely should. Definitely should. Back to these rookies, though. You had 3, but that's crazy to think about in that final drive. You had 3 rookies on 3 consecutive plays, game on the line, and all of them delivered. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Hell, even your depth guys showed up. You got Princely, who flashed as the pass rusher. I know he only had like 1 tackle, but the pressures were there. Again, you watch the tape. I know the stats ain't showing it. I see people harp too much on sacks, man, or sacks and tackles. They look at the stats. Just because you're not hitting guys, like just because when your guys are pass rushers, just because they're not getting the sacks does not mean they're causing ruckus. So you need to watch tape. I'll just be honest with you. Get NFL Plus, $11.99. Go watch the replays. Trust me. If you really want to really dive into it for yourself. Ryan Fitzgerald as well, the kicker, nailed every kick after a rough outing in Foxborough. Undrafted, undrafted rookie Corey Thornton filled in at nickel like a seasoned vet with Shaw Smith-Wade sideline. When your rookies are making grown man plays like that, it's a damn good sign for your future, right? And last but not least in this game, like Canales, the Canales effect, accountability, adaption. Dave Canales, you got to give Dave Canales some credit here, guys, right? I'll say this. After that debacle in New England, this guy didn't hide. He didn't sugarcoat it. He took full ownership. He actually made changes. He made scheme changes, personnel changes, tone changes. That is rare in this league, especially for a guy who's still a young head coach, still finding his identity. But it's exactly what this franchise has been screaming for. Someone with balls to admit what's not working, fix it, right? Canales didn't. It's not like a Jiro Evero who continues to last year, who just continued to stick with the same thing on the defense and didn't try to switch it up whatsoever. But as for Canales, you got who didn't just tweak things. We're talking about a guy who flipped the script, right? He trusted his rookies. He simplified the offense. He told, I guess, maybe he has to do with some of what the adjustments on our defensive fronts. He ran the damn ball. That's called coaching. That's called holding yourself accountability and adapting. So, again, I just want to say this, and I'll finish my rant off with this. And then we'll get into some news. I'm going to just say this. Nobody is saying that this team is suddenly contenders. We are still a team that's 2-3 with plenty of flaws, but a lot of football still left. I just felt that this win felt different. And I think it felt earned. I felt like it was the first step forward of something sustainable. I felt like the offense found some balance for once. The defense found some attitude. The rookies found their groove. And most importantly, this team looked like it actually gave a shit, right? And I'll say this. For the first time in all year, guys, they played like they believed they could win. And if the energy carries into next week against Dallas, which this week, I should say, not next week, this week, we might just be onto something real. I think right now, yes, we're just going through some baby steps, sure. But for once, their steps are in the right direction. And the vibes are good in Charlotte right now, which they should be. But if you can survive this Cowboys team this Sunday, and especially against Dak Prescott right now, who looks like an MVP candidate, again, you're back to you're a 500 team, and you are you're heading in the right direction, and hopefully so that we get to see this team finally find its identity, get to 500, because we haven't got to 500 since 2021, 2020, whatever it was. So it's been a long time. Shout out to Steve-O with that $1.99 donation, though. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you, and we're going to dive more into that. Appreciate you, my guy. All right, let me get to some more of these comments in here. I think I missed a bunch in here. Ms. Douglas, DBs are struggling against Tedero. Yeah, I mean, they are. They are. Be nice. Jones becomes Gronk. Yeah, but it would be nice. When is the other running back drafted? When is the other running back drafted last year? Are you talking about? Oh, are you asking when Jonathan Brooks is coming back? He's out for the season, man. He ain't coming back. If we make the playoffs, he'll be back. But I don't. We would have to make the playoffs. What did Rico Dowdle? He said. Hold on 1 second, chat. What did Rico Dowdle? He said back. He said Buck. What? Sorry, I'm trying to read your comment. What did Rico Dowdle? He said buck them up. He ain't playing when he said that. I have no idea. He said buckle up. That's what he said. Brian Burns just got his 6th sack of the season. T. Thompson, that makes you sick, don't it? It just makes you sick. It makes you sick down in your loins. I understand, brother. I understand. It makes you sick. It makes you sick. And I understand why it makes you sick, man. It would make me sick too, knowing that a former player of the, Carolina Panthers is doing well. But that seems to be the norm here, right? That seems to be the norm. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, another one. The only one that really hasn't resurrected themselves, I would say, is DJ Moore. I don't even know if he's had a 1,000-yard season since he's been at Chicago. Someone might have to fact check me on that. But he definitely doesn't like being there with acrylic nails, that's for sure. But acrylic nails, aka Caleb Williams, looks like a guy who's balling out right now. If we can survive Bryce being the Cowboys' defensive MVP, no reason we can't depend on our run game whenever questionable. Dallas D. He said, "Buckle up, that's for sure." I'm 6 fuck. Giants busting Eagles' ass. Hey, somebody's got to do it. Keep pounding. I mean, the Eagles again. T. Thompson, I'm not surprised by that. I took the Eagles to win, but again, I'm not surprised by that. The Eagles are one of those teams, man, that literally, if you go back and watch that Denver game, they look like absolute dog shit in the second half against Denver. And it seemed like they forgot that they had Saquon Barkley on their team. The Real Sunchild, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through. Lions been sick for years. Yes, they have, Miss D Mac. Been sick for years. The damn Lions. Sickening. Dak been cooking for Cowboys. Their defense has been suspect, but there's hope we win for sure. Players around him is the reason he's getting sacks. They're doubling the other guys. And yeah, absolutely. When you got Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. Who else did they get? They got freaking Abdul Carter too. My goodness. Talk about a defensive line. At this point, we can't worry about players who are no longer on the team. I know. It's just hard, Miss Douglas, if you watch like how I watch the NFL, and you seem pretty football smart, Miss Douglas. So you probably watch just as much as football as maybe I do. But when you watch it so much and you watch the other teams too, and you see these other former Panthers do well, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Sorry, I didn't spell that right, my brother. Thank you, correct. It's all good, MLJ. You're fine. I started the Eagles defense too. Shake my head. T. Thompson, talk about fantasy, man. Talking about fantasy. All right. let's get into some news real quick. Let's see if there's another injury report. Here it is. Shout out to Cat Cray for this one. I'm going to save that, though. All right, so here's your injury report right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here is your injury report. Hold on one second here. All right. Reinstalling that NASCAR package. OC and Strahan. All right. Chuba Hubbard's the biggest concern for me. Caleb Evans did not participate. Hamstring issue. Did not participate Wednesday or Thursday. Chuba Hubbard calf issue still dealing with. It's not a quad. I keep thinking it's a quad. Calf issue, did not participate. Taylor Moton, elbow, did not participate. Tershawn Wharton did not participate. Jadavion Sanders, full participant, good. Shaw Smith-Way, full participant, that's good. Mike Jack, full participant, good. Jalen Kirker, full participant. So here's the thing. I would, if you can see Brandon over there who wrote, I really hope Team Mac or Taylor Moton is good for Sunday. I hope so too, because then we have to start Josh Nishman. But this is not really the update you really want to see right now, because Chuba Hubbard's status is interesting. I mean, listen, I like that. I mean, listen, I love what I saw with Rico Dowdle last week. Not saying anything against that. Because I was very interested on seeing how this running back approach was going to be going forward, because of course, you got Chuba Hubbard still nursing that stubborn calf strain, and once again didn't practice. So that makes 5 straight missed sessions. So let's be honest, that's not a great sign heading into week 6. He's been present, working off to the side. He's been doing rehab drills, but watching from the sideline, ready to take hands off on Sunday. Are very 2 different conversations, ladies and gentlemen. So at this point, Hubbard's status is very much in doubt. I don't think he's going to play. And based off of what Dave Canales said on Wednesday, didn't even sound like a man who expected a turnaround miracle. Don't hold your breath, okay? Don't hold your breath, okay? But again, Rico Dowdle, Trevor Wallace, they held it down nicely against, Miami. The biggest issue I'm having, though, is Taylor Moton. If y'all remember Josh Nishman, who played left tackle for us when Ike Ekwonu was out, we remember how that went. So this is really not ideal. I'll tell you that. It's really not ideal that Taylor Moton's out, especially dealing with this elbow injury. But again, if we're running the ball and we're taking away from the defense, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. He did not participate 2 days in a row. He did not participate in 2 days in a row. So, not ideal. Not ideal, especially going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Guys, by the way, we got over 29 likes on this live stream. I would greatly appreciate it if we could try to boost that up a little bit. If we could boost that up, we greatly appreciate it. We got 31 people watching. I would greatly appreciate that. So, I would greatly appreciate that. Oh, shit. My fantasy team's doing good right now, ladies and gentlemen. I got Wan'Dale Robinson starting in this game. He got a 61 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown's getting some burn. Jalen Hurts getting that. Jalen Hurts and them need to score, though. Whether it's Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown, one or the other needs to score. Give me my fantasy points, man. I'm trying to, and right now I'm not having a good year, and I'm going up against the best guy in my league, so I need him to. I need Jalen Hurts to score, and I need A.J. Brown to score. All right. But other than that, that's the injury report right now. I will dive more into this injury report on Friday because Friday normally will be when we get basically that's going to be that's going to be the end all be all. So we'll dive more into that tomorrow when we do my breakdown of this Cowboys game. All right. Shout out to Carolina Blitz, Miss Vashti, with this video. This is what Jalen Coker had to say. Dang, D-Mac. D-Mac don't hold back, does she? D-Mac does not hold back. She honest. Damn, being honest for sure, D-Mac.
How do you feel physically? I know Canales said that they were going to try to ramp up your load to see how much you can take to potentially play this week, but how do you feel like you handled practice today?
I think it was good. Lighter day today, so tomorrow's going to be a real test, but I feel good.
Do you feel like you're ready to go Sunday?
Yeah, I do.
So that's huge. I mean, you ain't holding back. I'm just saying. You ain't holding back. That's for sure. I'm just saying. You ain't holding back. I can tell. But anyways, Jalen Coker says he's ready to go, according to this, or even according to himself. And according to him, he's ready to go. That's one thing. This is one thing I feel like from this report right here that could change everything. Like, again, this team's not fixed, not even close, but they're finally showing some life. Like I said, that's what we were talking about earlier. But we can't take Miami just as a morale boost, ladies and gentlemen. Like, again, and it wasn't just a morale boost. It was the first real sign of a pulse from this team, right? That's been stuck in, I feel like, purgatory for a few weeks. But just when they needed another spark to keep that momentum rolling, they might get it, right? And I think this is a guy that could definitely help in that. I'm not saying, but I think having Tre'von Sanders coming back, of course, once Chuba Hubbard gets back in the lineup, having Taylor Moton come back, if we could just have this offense fully healthy, I feel like if guys, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, feeling this way. I just feel like we haven't truly seen this offense at a full go. We've had injuries, and again, I'm a big believer that elite players can still rise through chaos, right? But we really haven't seen this offense in full blown because we've just had so many injuries. So, but having a guy like this, you have Tre'von Sanders come back, you have Jalen Coker come back, you just had Mitchell Evans score the game-winning touchdown, you just had Jimmy Horn Jr. have an impact in this offense, the way that they used him, and then you just had Xavier Legette as well come back, have some major impact as well, scoring a touchdown, right? And then now you're getting Coker, Jadavion Sanders, but then your offensive line is still dealing with injuries. It's like, can we please just catch a break? Can we please finally just see what this offense really looks like fully healthy, or at least as healthy as it can get? Because I still feel like we haven't seen this offense to what it really can be. Because, again, we can't remain healthy. You know what I mean? It just seems like we're constantly dealing with something every single day, a single week. Right? So, again, I just feel that it's great that Coker's come back. I think that he's a guy that who's going to make his presence felt, right? Especially for Bryce, because we all, after the Adam Thielen trade, we all pointed at the direction of Jalen Coker to be that guy who's going to be, the safety blanket that Adam Thielen was, right? And I think this is a true game changer. Help is on the way type of guy, and it sounds like he's going to play. Maybe we'll see, but again, Jalen Coker, I think him coming into this game, if he comes and plays against Dallas, I think his impact isn't about. It won't be about flash. It shouldn't be about headline stats. It's about the reliability that he brings. He is that type of receiver that makes life easier for a young quarterback in Bryce. And of course, and who needs all the help that, he can get. And since Coker's been out, the pass game has been a weird carousel of almost. Like, I think, like someone just asked me a question about Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow hasn't quite found his footing yet. And I think, again, when you take a year off, it's going to take some time. Xavier Legette, was inconsistent, then battled a hamstring injury, but then bounced back huge against Miami, made some plays, had a huge touchdown. You got Jimmy Horn Jr., who's still learning, but on the fly, but they're using him in what the best way he needs to be used, and what we saw in Miami. I think that's what he brings to the table. He's not. I think he's more than a gadget player, but again, you're going to see those different route and packages with him in it. You're going to see a lot of quick, short routes to keep the ball moving forward, downhill. You're going to see those quick hitch slant routes with him. That's what you want with Jimmy Horn Jr., right? Tedero McMillan, again, he's the first read. He's the wide receiver one. He's doing the heavy lifting outside. But Young's had really zero comfort, zero underneath until really, I guess you could say, when they finally brought in Jimmy Horn Jr., right? But again, this is where Coker lives. He lives in those short to intermediate routes. He lives in those timing throws. He's a chain mover. He is that safety valve. And basically, that's the stuff that turns third and longs into manageable thirds and keeps an offense breathing, right? Because last year, in the limited time that Coker did get to play, it was 32 catches, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns as a rookie. A guy who's undrafted. Again, those aren't eye-popping numbers, but every one of those catches came with precision. It came with control. It came with confidence. Again, he's not going to be the biggest or fastest guy, but he's got that find the soft spot, get open DNA that makes your quarterback trust in him, right? And I think that's something that we've missed badly, all right? But, the plan is for him, I think right now, is they're going to take it slow. I think they're going to let him cook, right? Canales and the staff aren't going to rush him. Thank God for that, because Coker's been through the share of his soft tissue injuries. We've seen it time and time again with him. Those can spiral fast if mishandled. So the approach here is methodical, right? Where you ramp up the workload, test the leg, the endurance, then go full throttle when he's ready. And Coker knows it too, right? But you can feel the itch in his voice in that video. You know, you can tell he's got that get me the back on the field energy. Still the smart move is to keep the leash on him short. You know, keep the leash short at first, right? Maybe limited a snap count against Dallas, a handful of looks in the slot, a chance to make, you know, shake off some rust. Then once the confidence and the conditioning are there, then you can fully unleash him. I would not, with the soft tissue issue, I would not full blow. So I think he'll get some burn in Dallas if he's good to go. I don't think he's going to get a full workload, which is probably fine by me, because then you could switch him and Jimmy Horn Jr. out, and everybody's getting some, you know, everybody's getting some burn, right? And it can really be, you could create a pretty interesting offense with that, I think. Because when Coker's will be fully healthy, I do believe he's the kind of player who gives your offense rhythm. And the rhythm is the only thing that this unit has been completely missing until this Rico Dowdle game, right? Bless me. God. Good Lord. Sorry about that. No excuses, no mercy. It takes the whole team to overcome Bryce's inefficiencies, that's for sure. If Coker plays, I'm calling it, we're beating Dallas. Hopefully Coker can help Bryce in the middle throws, which seems to be a problem. I mean, here's the thing. That's great, because that's a great comment, because I do think Bryce needs this guy. I do. And I think Coker can be that, because this isn't about just about Coker's return. It's about what it means for Bryce. Like, Young starting to show flashes again. Fourth quarter drive against Miami looked like the kid in Alabama, that the Alabama fans used to lose their mind over, but he's been doing it without that trusted slot receiver who can sit in a soft zone, bail him out when the pocket collapses, keep drives alive. That's Coker's specialty, though. That's the thing. He's Young's version. He is the Young's version of get out of jail free card. He's a chain mover. He's a rhythm maker. He's a guy who makes Bryce's job a little less like running for his life and a little bit more like playing quarterback. When you combine that with a revitalized run game, thanks Rico Dowdle, and the emergency of our rookie playmakers, you start to see the shape of a balanced offense, and one that actually might be able to dictate a game instead of reacting to it. So I wouldn't call it a comeback yet. I'm not saying that Jalen Coker is going to suddenly turn this team into contenders, but if you've watched this offense the last month, you know just how badly you need someone exactly like him. Not a savior, just someone who can be a stabilizer, right? And right now, stability is exactly what Bryce Young needs, right? I mean, again, his safety blankets has been T-Mac, okay? And T-Mac can continue to be that. But when double teams start happening, where's Bryce going to go? And I think that's where Coker comes in. But I do think that with what the impact that Jimmy Horn Jr. had out there, I could see where it's going to be a bunch of different packages, split sets, maybe even split snaps between Coker and him. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting when Coker comes back, because that's going to be another thing. It's like that I might want to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about more about it tomorrow night, because I'll have to go watch some film, really dissect some things, and because it's going to be interesting when Coker is fully able to take a full workload, because the impact that Jimmy Horn Jr. had in this last game, and then now bringing him back, it's going to be interesting what different packages and sets that Canales could put together. I think you can be more creative with this offense, having Coker and Jimmy Horn Jr. in it. Is what I'm saying. So, again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button on your way in, on your way out. I would greatly appreciate it. We've got over 32 likes. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Really do. All right, let's move on. There was a post I'm trying to find here. This is interesting. Who should be the Panthers running back one when Chuba Hubbard? When Panthers running back one when Chuba Hubbard's healthy. This is what I got to say to this, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Canales has a good problem. The Carolina Panthers have a good problem. You know what that good problem is, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what that good problem is? You've got 2 starting running backs. That's your good problem. That is your good problem. Because the question really should be is how should they handle the running back room after this breakout performance by Rico Dowdle, and how should we handle it going forward with Chuba Hubbard when Chuba Hubbard is healthy? That is the question, ladies and gentlemen, because any metric of the imagination, I'll say this, is that Rico Dowdle's performance against Miami, I felt like was a shockwave moment for this offense. We're talking about a guy who spent the last 5 years in Dallas, who was basically buried under that depth chart. So 4 years in Dallas. It was 4 years. It was 4 years in Dallas. And then he delivers again an Adrian Peterson prime performance. One of the best performances we've seen in a running back in probably the Carolina Panthers franchise history. It reminded me of D'Angelo Williams days. But I felt like he looked like prime Adrian Peterson out there, though. Right? So, Dave, once Chuba Hubbard's fully able to go, Dave Canales is going to have a decision to make. The presumed RB1 entering the year, right? Chuba Hubbard. The offense just looked at its best all season with Dowdle as the bell cow. The question is, once Chuba healthy, how does this backfield rotation actually look? And this is a nice problem to have. Now, I'm going to say this about Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle changed the tone of this offense. Okay? The Panthers offense finally looked like we had an identity in week 5. The pound the damn rock for Rico Dowdle. And this kid, again, ran angry. He ran decisive. He ran like a guy who's tired of being a nice story. He wants to be the story. His vision between the tackles is sharp. His patience on outside zone plays fits Canales' scheme perfectly. His contact balance was elite. Out of his 206 rushing yards, a whopping 132 came after contact. That was per next-gen stats. I saw that. A whopping 132 came after contact, meaning he wasn't just finding space, he was creating it. That's the biggest thing. Like, Dowdle didn't just put up numbers. He was stabilizing this entire offense. and Bryce had more time in play action. The offensive line looked more comfortable. Canales was able to control the tempo for the first time all season. And if Canales is serious about establishing a physical, balanced identity in Carolina, the version of this offense might be the Dowdle-led version. And might have to stick around even when Chuba Hubbard comes back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Chuba Hubbard factor is different. Chuba Hubbard isn't going to go anywhere. All right, before the injury, Hubbard had been the team's most consistent offensive weapon, leading the backfield with both carries and yards. You know, he has 72 carries, 317 yards through the first 4 games, which isn't bad. He's been reliable. I think he's durable for the most part. You know, quietly effective in the pass protection, something that can't be overlooked. All right, especially with Bryce Young. This is the thing. Chuba's running style is fundamentally different than Dowdle's, right? Chuba is a rhythm runner, right? Which means he's best when he gets 15 plus touches a game, right? Builds tempo. He uses his acceleration to hit daylight, right? Whereas, again, Dowdle is a tone setter. He's a physical grinder who softens up the defense. He wears them down. He makes safeties start peeking into the box. Both have value, but trying to force them into the same role, I think, would be a mistake. So this is how I think that Dave Canales wants Chuba Hubbard is good to go. This is how I think he should handle this approach. All right. And if Dave Canales has shown one thing since arriving in Carolina, it's his ability. It's his system is built around personnel, not ego. So the smart move here isn't picking a starter. It's picking a structure that keeps both of these backs involved without killing your rhythm or production. So here's what I think it should look like going forward. You make Rico Dowdle your RB1A. He's the tempo setter, right? He's the tempo setter. Let him take the first series, establish physicality, get the defense reaching early, okay? His bruising style wears down the defensive line, sets up Canales play action, motion concepts perfectly. Think of him as the hammer that starts every offensive drive with intent. Then use Hubbard as your RB1B. The closer, change of pace back. He's the closer and the change of pace back. So basically, he's a reliever pitcher and a closer pitcher. So basically, once you've gassed up that defense, right, they're completely gassed, that's when you put Chuba Hubbard out there. Because his burst becomes more deadly. Because then when you rotate him in for stretches, you let him exploit the tired front seven, and you use him in hurry-up packages where his acceleration can create chunk plays. He's also a better third down back right now and more trustworthy in protection. And I think he could be also a better receiver in space. But I think you need to keep the snap count between these guys fluid. Okay? Because if you keep the snap count split fluid, here's what happens. There's no need for a rigid 60-40 split. Go by the flow. If Dowdle's heating up, feed him. If Chuba's hitting creases, let him cook. But use each back in situations that fit their strengths, right? Dowdle on early downs, red zone carries, short yardage. Chuba Hubbard, outside zone, screen, third down snaps. That's the kind of situational clarity that gives both of these back defined roles, and then it avoids all the confusion, and it keeps the defensives guessing. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. So, and again, this matters a lot to Bryce Young and this offense because Canales' entire philosophy will depend on balance and sequencing. So run to set up the pass to open the run. Right now, Bryce Young is at his best when our ground game is rolling. Because if you go back and watch that Miami game again, we ran the ball 31 times and we controlled possession for nearly 33 minutes. That's the blueprint, ladies and gentlemen. You take the pressure off of Bryce, you keep the playbook open, and you let him work off play action and rollouts instead of dropping back 40 times a game. Because, again, Dowdle's emergence gives Canales the luxury of not having to force Bryce to play hero ball. And then when Hubbard returns, all right, when Hubbard returns, that 1-2 punch can keep defenses honest, open up the offense's entire middle third, and where Young's accuracy shines the most. I think that's what you got to do. Solid. I've already said that we beat a bad Miami team. I'm just telling you what I think that we need to do with this running back room as soon as Hubbard comes back. So there is a bigger picture here, and I think you just got to ride that identity that I just said, because you finally found something that works. Physicality, rhythm, and a clear sense of purpose. The mistake would be overthinking it once Chuba Hubbard returns. Don't split the carries for the sake of fairness. Split them for the sake of flow. If Dowdle keeps running like this, he has earned the right to be the lead horse. Chuba Hubbard should still play a big role, but this is no longer just his backfield by default. This is the Dowdle, Hubbard, and Etienne backfield, right? It's built on complementary skill sets, and then you have this renewed sense of direction. It's way better. Again, if Canales plays it right when Hubbard comes back, you let Rico Dowdle set the tone on early downs. Chuba Hubbard keeps defenses off balance with his pace. And then Bryce Young stays upright and keeps him confident. That's the formula. That's the way you win football games. It's exactly what we've been missing for years, and why all of a sudden we decided to go away from it. I don't know why. You know what because it reminds, you know what, another thing that it also reminds me of? Y'all remember that Lions game? Again, when we had Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, and they went off in that game, and we blew out the Detroit Lions. And that's when Steve Wilkes took over. That's the same approach we're basically taking. But I'm telling you right now, that approach will work with Bryce Young, because it takes a lot of pressure off, and all Bryce has to do is manage the game. But then it also opens up what benefits Bryce's most is play action pass and rollouts. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. I just think that you can't overthink it anymore. And I think a lot of people I think that our coaching staff overthinks it. I just think they overthink it. All right. Let's talk about this Carolina Panthers pass rush. All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. As of right now, according to reports, this is our defensive rankings. We're ranked 12th in total defense, which is wild, ladies and gentlemen. Passing yards allowed, 10th. Rushing yards allowed 14th and points allowed 19th. Can we just go ahead and say this? Can we just I feel like this deserves a round of applause. Look at that current compared to the last year. Look at that. We were 32nd in yards allowed last year. We're down to 12th. We were 23rd in passing yards allowed. We are now 23rd. We are now 10th. We are rushing yards allowed. We improved from 32nd to 14th, and points allowed, we improved from 32nd to 19th. Like, that's got me hyped up. That's pretty damn good, especially for a team that's 2-3. But this is the game, and I'm gonna pull up something else here in a second. Give me a second here. I'm gonna pull something else up here in a second. Now, this is Cowboys. So if you can read this, the Cowboys have allowed most passing yards to a quarterback. The Cowboys have allowed third most passing touchdowns to a quarterback. The Cowboys have allowed fourth most rushing touchdowns to a quarterback. The Cowboys have allowed the eighth most rushing touchdowns to a running back. The Cowboys have allowed most receiving yards to a running back. The Cowboys allowed third most receptions to a running back. The Cowboys have allowed the most receiving yards to a wide receiver. The Cowboys have allowed the most receiving touchdowns to a wide receiver. The Panthers have allowed the most receiving yards to a tight end. The Panthers have allowed the sixth most receiving touchdowns to a tight end and the eighth most receptions to a tight end. This Panthers defense need to bring hell to Dak Prescott on Sunday. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is going to be part of one of my keys, and I'll probably dive into more of it tonight than I will tomorrow. But you've got to make Dak Prescott very uncomfortable on Sunday, or he's going to carve us up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Yes, our pass rush finally woke up last week, but let's not act like 3 sacks against the Dolphins suddenly turns our front 7 into the 85 Bears. Now, you also just saw our defensive rankings, obviously major improvement because our defense actually looked alive, but the rankings really shows a lot how good we have become. That's good news. The bad news is you're about to face one of the best protected quarterbacks in football, a guy who looks like, and I hate to say, I can't believe I'm saying this in the same sentence, but Dak Prescott looks like an MVP candidate. And he's not exactly in a generous mood, especially after that. I think they're still salty about that tie with the Green Bay Packers. But if we cannot consistently get pressure, it's going to be a long-ass afternoon, right? Because both of these teams are still trying to prove that they're not mediocre. Both teams are hanging around that awkward could go either way zone. The Cowboys are sitting at 2-1. We're sitting at 2-3. Neither record screams Super Bowl contenders, but both squads are fresh off of wins that actually matter, right? Dallas just put belt to ass to the New York Jets, while we had one of the biggest comebacks we've ever had in franchise history over Miami, right? So momentum, again, I've been screaming this at the top of my lungs, ladies and gentlemen. Momentum is fragile. The thing in this league, though, is that the Cowboys are trying to prove last year's disappointing 7-10 mess was just a fluke. Whereas we're trying to prove that we have finally found a pulse and that we can, this is a progress year. So if we want to keep that little flame of momentum burning, we have to make one thing clear this week. Get to the damn quarterback. Dak Prescott right now is an absolute problem. Say what you want about the Cowboys, coaching moves, promoting Brian Schottenheimer, raise some eyebrows, but the offense is humming, man. Dallas has scored 17 offensive touchdowns in 5 games, ranks first in total offense, 8th in rushing, 3rd in passing yards per game. Basically, if you've watched the Dallas Cowboys lately, Dak Prescott is cooking. He's doing it right behind a line that gives him all the day to see the season to damn stew, man. Prescott's been razor sharp. He's completing 71.3% of his passes for over 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's only got 3 picks. What's even crazier is he's only been sacked 7 times this season. The guy's got great protection. So, yeah, our defense, especially the pass rush, has its work cut out for it. You can't expect to beat a guy like Dak if he's standing back there in a clean pocket, checking his watch, and, hitting George Pickens and whoever else is out there. If you give him time, you're going to put yourself in a bad position. Simple as that. So, again, we had a flicker of hope against Miami. Right? You had a flicker of hope of Miami. Our defensive line actually looked legit last week for the first time all year. And after basically sleepwalking through the first month of the season, the front 7 finally punched someone in the mouth, right? Against Miami, Derrick Brown, A'Shawn Robinson, Pat Jones all got home against Tua, who spent a lot of the game wondering where the hell his protection went. That's the exact chaos Carolina needs more of, right? Let's not forget last season how bad our pass rush was. It was absolutely pathetic. We just finished with 27 sacks. Dead last in the entire NFL. And in 2024, we barely improved to 32. So still among the bottom feeder. So, but through the first 4 games this year, which is crazy to think, even after we just saw those defensive rankings, it's crazy to think that, and I'm going to share this defensive rankings again. There's the Carolina Panthers defensive rankings compared to 2024. Okay? It's crazy to think that after looking at these defensive rankings, right, that we've only had 2 sacks in the first 4 games of the season. Until last week, we got 3 sacks, right? So, again, but then you have Princely, Monmiel, and Tershawn Wharton. Those were the only guys that had 2 sacks, that had a sack each. But again, your week 5 defensive I'm telling you, week 5 felt different. The D-line didn't just show up. They imposed themselves. Derrick Brown looked like the monster that he was drafted to be, right? Coming off that injury, looked like what he once was. Robinson brought that interior pass push. They've been missing. Jones played like a man trying to earn a permanent role in his rotation. And let's not forget also Nick Scorton. Again, a guy that should have had a sack last week, but ended up, having a lot of quarterback rushes, some tackle for losses, some quarterback hit, but he was bringing the pressure, right? That he was a disruptor. Nick Scorton wasn't a guy out there that was getting the sacks, but he was being an absolute disruptor. So, let's not overreact. One solid outing does not mean that this unit is still suddenly elite. Dallas offensive line is no joke, and Prescott's been sacked only 7 times for a reason. All right? We have 5 sacks in 5 games. That's not enough to rattle a veteran like Dak, right? We're going to have to get creative, and that's where Evero needs to turn up the heat, literally. Ejiro Evero has to open up his bag this week. If the standard 4-man rush can't get home, I'm going to be honest, it probably won't. And it's time to get weird because disguise looks, dial up pressure from different angles, send a corner blitz, fake a drop, mix in stunts, whatever it takes to force Prescott to actually think pre-snap instead of just chilling back there, right? And for the love of God, can we continue to let Nick Scorton, just let him be unleashed? All right, let him do his thing already. Continue to do that. All right. He's just, again, I'm going back to that because he's been flashing all that potential. And now it's time for him to actually make a damn impact and continue to make a damn impact the way he has. Again, he's a major disruptor. All right. The Cowboys offensive line is disciplined for sure, but every great unit can get punched in the mouth if you hit him fast enough. So again, for the love of God, please do not let Dak Prescott just stand there and pick his nose and then pick his targets. Because if Evero plays too conservative, Dallas will hang 30+ on us without breaking a sweat. Now, I already predicted this game's going to be a shootout. I think I can see this. Either this game's going to be like 26-23 or it's going to be like 31-35, something like that, right? But, again, we've got to get pressure home at Dak Prescott. It is time to get weird, D-Mac. It is time to get weird. But, again, these defensive numbers, man, I can't believe that this is what we're seeing. Currently 12th. Total defense, we're 12th. Passing yards allowed 10th. Rushing yards allowed 14th. And points allowed 19th. And compared to last year, 32nd, 23rd, 32nd, 32nd. And this is where we're looking at right now, 5 games through the season. That is a major improvement from a defensive standpoint, everyone. So, all right, guys. That's all I got for tonight. Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on new content. And as always, guys, I will see you tomorrow live here. Again, we'll be breaking down more of that. We will be breaking that Cowboys game down front to back, offense, defense, final preview and prediction as well. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to do it early in the afternoon or at 8 p.m., but I will post and let you guys know, okay? So make sure you tune into that. I also posted my NFL Week 6 power rankings on the shorts. I also posted my NFL Week 6 shorts as well. Posted that, so make sure you guys go check those out. Make sure you, again, hit the thumbs up button over there as well. Other than that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Y'all know what to do. I'm out of here. Keep pounding. Peace.